Good day. I am Alyssa Reyes and my group mates are Christell Deri and Maica Eunice Ramos and we are the Group 10. I am Alyssa Reyes, the first reporter of Group 10, and I'm going to discuss the 5 strategies for inclusive education. Before we discuss the 5 strategies of inclusive education, what exactly is inclusive education? What is inclusive education? Inclusive education provides all students with access to flexible learning choices and effective paths for achieving education goals in spaces where they experience sense of belongings. In an inclusive education environment, all children, regardless of ability or disability, learn together in the same age-appropriate classroom. It is based on the understanding that all children and family are valued equally and deserve access to the same opportunities. Next, what is inclusive strategies? Inclusive strategies enable a learner with disability to participate in learning experiences on the same basis as a learner without disabilities. This is achieved by making adjustment to the deliver or mode of assessment without changing the way the assessment is judged or marked. And now we proceed to our topic, the 5 strategies for inclusive education. The first strategies for inclusion in education. Inclusive education is primarily educators or teachers. Many teachers are convert-minded to such a concept as they lack the knowledge of confidence is being able to cater to the needs of the students with disabilities. On the contrary, the teachers who have been a part of this highly endorse inclusive education in schools. Proper training of the teachers and providing them with the necessary resources can significantly help in improvising the procedure. The strategies for inclusion education have a 2 category. First, universal learning design. Such design includes various learning styles that can support a learner in several ways. These include audio lessons, images, graphic organizers, oral and written responses, modeling, and the use of modern technological gadgets. As a student with a disability can be provided with the headphones, use calculators, and in some instances can also be granted extra time. And second, use various instructional equipment. As teacher can use electronic board or as speakers, visual, presenters, audio video to deliver their instruction to the students. Disabled students can be provided extra attention and given more tools that can ease their learning process. Other students should also be encouraged to cooperate and support such students. Classroom strategies to build a safe community. Building a classroom community where all students feel a sense belonging is an area most educators spend weeks of school, especially the first few weeks of school, focus on. We know that creating a safe space for different learning styles, gender, racial, religious, and ethnic background goes well beyond the first month back in our classrooms. Next, inclusive classroom environment strategies. An inclusive school or classroom can only be successful when all students feels they are truly part of the school community. This can only happen through open, honest discussion about differences and understanding and respecting people from all abilities and backgrounds. An inclusive environment is one where everyone feels valued. And here are some strategies. First, create a supportive, respectful environment. Promote diversity and fairness. Second, have high expectation of all your students. Research shows that students respond better than they feel that their teachers has faith in their abilities and is not focusing on their inabilities. And next, create a supportive peer culture both inside and outside the classroom. This is when you empower learners to respect and trust each other, making empathy and fashionable and reinforcing positive and pro-social attitudes by encouraging learners to help each other. And next, plan learning, which includes participation from everyone and encourages success. You can do this by creating an environment which is personalized to student needs and by talking about learning that focuses on what student can do and what they would like to do next. And also, this can be done through tutorials, individual learning plans, and short and long-term goal setting by the learners so that they feel they have ownership of their learning. If you provide students with opportunities to tell you what is working and what needs attention, you will have a better idea of what to focus on. Next, inclusive classroom strategies. Every child in your class should be absolutely clear about what the minimum, basic, acceptable levels of behaviors are. Develop a strong behavior management plan. Having a successful, inclusive classroom depends upon having control of your classroom. It is essential to have clearly communicated expectations and goals that are accessible to all students. Your classroom environment should be tailored to better suit diverse student needs. Some specific behavior management strategies that support effective instruction are: first, posting daily schedules; next, displaying classroom rules and expectations; next, encouraging peer-to-peer instruction and leadership; next, using signal to quiet down, start working, and putting away materials; next, giving student folders, labels, and containers to organize supplies; checking on student as they do their activity; speaking to student privately about any concerns. And last, strategies, inclusive teaching strategies. Inclusive teaching refers to practices that support meaningful and accessible learning for all students. Inclusive teaching practices to support the inclusion of students with a diverse range of abilities and strengths. Many of these strategies are relevant for all students, while others will be relevant some students. Here are some strategies. First, instructors can connect and engage with a variety of students. Second, student feels comfortable in classroom environment to voice their ideas and questions. And last, students are more likely to be successful through activities that support their learning modalities, abilities, and background.
Good day, I'm Christell Deri, the second reporter of Group 10, and I'm going to discuss the support services for the children with special needs. Support services for children with special needs. This provides direct assistance to classroom teachers on ways to use the lessons to achieve educational goals that have been set for children with disabilities. These services help the teacher to assist by substituting for teachers. In that way, they can meet with parents or other people about the child's inclusion. Here are some of the support services for children with special needs. Speech language service. An assessment and treatment of communication problems and speech disorders are performed by speech language pathologists, SLP, also known as a speech therapist. It was the one that is used by the speech therapist to improve communication. These include articulation therapy, language intervention activities, and others, depending on the type of speech or language disorder. It may be needed for speech disorder that were developed during the childhood stage or speech impairment caused by an accident or illness like stroke and brain injury. Audiology Service. The hearing and balance assessment services are furnished by a qualified audiologist legally authorized to perform under the state of law. Audiology service were provided to support the needs of children with hearing loss, including key services such as determining the range, nature, and degree of the child's hearing loss, and both group and individual needs for implication. Language Interpretation Service, a translational activity in which one produces a first and final translation based on a one-time exposure to an expression in a source language. Sign language is one of the common types of language interpretation service. This was commonly used by the person who is deaf or hard of hearing. Recreation Therapy Service, a systematic process that utilizes recreation and other activities as intervention to address the assessed needs of individuals with illnesses or special needs, as a means to psychological and physical health recovery plus well-being. This was also known as therapeutic recreation. This one uses engaging activities such as music, sports, or leisure activities to enhance a person's physical abilities, independence, and overall well-being. Counseling Service, a service provided by qualified social workers, psychologists, guidance counselors, or other qualified personnel. Counseling services are intended to help all children in the areas of academic achievement and personal or social development, including career development. This can include helping children with personal and social concern, such as developing self-knowledge, making effective decisions, learning health choices, and improving responsiveness. Orientation and Mobility Service. This provides services to blind or visually impaired students by a certified orientation and mobility specialist to enable those students to attain systematic orientation and safe movement within their environments in school, home, and community. These services are available to students with visual impairments who require specialized training to travel in the school, home, and community environments. School Health or School Nurse Service. This was provided by a qualified school nurse or another qualified person which helps to ensure a continuum of care from school to home and community healthcare provider. This service is required to assist a child with a disability to benefit from special education, and they are not required to provide medical services that can only be provided by a licensed medical doctor.
Thank you, Ma'am Christell, for your great discussion. I am Maica Eunice B. Ramos. Now, I will discuss my topic, which is about Philippine Inclusive Education Practices Improvement. In the Philippines, the recent response of the government to inclusion was the issuance of Department Order DO 21 Series of 2019 by the Department of Education, DepEd, Secretary Leonor Briones. Inclusive education is the core principle of K-12 basic education program. This promotes the right of every Filipino to quality, equitable, culture-based, and complete education. Through inclusive education, all Filipinos will realize their full potential and contribute meaningfully to building the nation. Schools should accommodate children regardless of their physical, intellectual, linguistic, or other conditions. These should include disabled and gifted children, street and working children, children from remote or nomadic populations, children from linguistic, ethnic, or cultural minorities, and children from other disadvantaged or marginalized area or group. Children and youth with special educational needs should be included in the educational arrangements made for the majority of the children. Special education was part of the inclusion mandate of the Salamanca Statement. The Philippines had come a long way in institutionalizing policies on special education, SPED, in support of an inclusive and equitable education. The goal of an inclusive education system is to provide all students with the most appropriate learning environments and opportunities for them to best achieve their potential. All children can learn and reach their full potential given opportunity, effective teaching, and appropriate resources.